negotiating with a potential seller or buyer, saying I would like to represent your business, and then you're negotiate with the open marketplace on how to actually get a deal done. If you're not doing any of those things, you're not a realtor. He goes, man, if you want to make it happen, knock on 100 doors a day. I said, I don't got that time. 150 to 200 it is. And that's what we did. I'm not selling sunset. I don't, you know what I mean? It's boring. Consistency and results.
Love that.
It's boring, man.
What's poppin', everybody? Today I am sitting with not David Robbio, but Mr. Robbio.
There we go.
This gentleman makes $1 million a year. And that wasn't just last year. That wasn't just the year before. That's this year too. So it's not like a few sales have went through and that's what brought him to that gross commission. He's got the recipe. He knows how to do it. And on this episode, he's going to allow you to understand how. This man is disciplined. He's got an amazing, amazing lifestyle with his family, his wife. His moral compass is in the right place. And he's straight business. He owns 34 suits, and no, he doesn't rock a pair of J's with a tee and some jeans on and tries to chop his homes. He does it in style. So, Mr. Robbio, thank you for joining us here today.
My man, what a great intro. Thanks for I'm going to save that clip, and that is going to be, I'm going to do ChatGPT, make that my LinkedIn, make that everything. That was perfect, man. I appreciate it.
So, $1 million a year. Coming up on the third year.
Yeah.
That's not easy to do, especially when you're a one-man show. You're operating lean and mean, and you're clipping $1 million a year.
Yep.
This is your third year that you're going to do that.
Yeah.
So that's no fluke, or it's not that one of the years you had, a couple really big sales happen and that's why you hit that number. This is the third year. Yeah. That means whatever you're doing, it's working. Yeah. And tell me more about that.
Yeah, well, staying lean, I think, was the big thing that you just mentioned. We have, when I say stay lean, I've always looked at people as leverage, but to also help them in their facet, right? So I've had one of my agents with me for a couple of years now, and he was kind of my first guy I brought on because he wanted to get into the business, and it was good leverage for me to give him those lower tier stuff so he can kind of cut his teeth so I can spend my time on higher tier stuff, right? So from the very beginning, I learned about the 80-20 principle. Right? So I realized that if I just put my efforts towards the top 20% that matters, it's going to yield those 80% of results, right? And right away when you get in the business, I want to make $1 million, right? So I've only been in real estate now. This is my 6th year, and this is my 3rd year in a row that'll make over $1 million. Not just like last year was a little over 1.3. Like we're really hitting that to kind of leave that buffer room. And my first year in the business, I made $250,000. And that's when I realized it's not that it's complicated. It's just that it's boring. And what I also realized is that since it's boring, when people try to excite it up, they start veering off the path and doing something completely different. And like, oh, that doesn't work. And they go over here, and over a 10-year span, their horizon was very static. Whereas if I just kept the same thing going, I'd be more on a trajectory. And that's what I realized right away. And when I just looked at all the leverage points. Okay, buyers take up a lot of time. So I need someone to cut them in on the deal so they could do the driving for me. I can negotiate anywhere in the world, and I could be in my boxers, which I've done several times, right? So that was a key thing. The next thing is administratively. It's very basic paperwork, but it's time consuming to be dealing with that stuff all the time. So paying an admin salary, that's like a fixed cost, but in terms of how much time it saves, I could buy back their time in the first quarter of the year, right? So that was another really easy one. And then just kind of breaking down the business. But it came to that point, I think you and I have chatted about it a lot, the margin of diminishing return. If I continue to scale more, I got to give up more of the nut. Whereas if where I'm at now, I'm super profitable, I'm super lean, and I'm not here to bring on bunch of agents. I'd rather keep it lean, and if anything, have some profitable agents that I can share my business with while still netting what I need to net, and have a really tight, lean, efficient administrative staff. And that's kind of been our whole business model.
Love it. So what inspired you to take that route? Because it's to go to your point, it's easy to bite off more than you could chew and have these things distract you over time without you even really realizing that you're off track, right? Yeah. So how is it that you keep so steady on the path? You referred to it as boring.
It is.
So let's keep it boring. Let's stay on the path. Yeah. And what inspired you to
I appreciate that, man. So, what I realized, and the thing about real estate is everyone's trying to do something, right? But there was actually a book written called The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. And when I got in the business, I just read that book, which a lot of realtors probably don't even read a lot of books. Yeah. So I read that book and I was like, oh, this is the blueprint. And then there was actually different models, okay? And there was 1 through 7, number 7 being you're completely removed from the business and your business is producing $1 million a year. But what I noticed was the variable inputs, how much admin staff there's going to be, how much transactional volume there needed to be and everything. And I was like, That's huge. Okay. And then I went to, I think it was around 3 or 4, that model. And I was like, what if I just did that at a higher price point? Then I could be netting the same as that person who's running a huge organization, but I'd be able to stay more lean, more profitable, not have to do as much work, and I get back more family time. The only reason I got in this business was so I can have enough money so I can buy back my time to spend with my family, so I could be a present husband and father. And everyone I saw kind of chase this scale, they started losing grips of that. And they were spending so many hours trying to build and build and build and build and build. They lost sight of the reason why they even got started, right? So that was a very inspiring thing to me, was just realizing if I just follow the dollar, keep it profitable. And then I almost kind of realized like, oh, we're a bit of like a bespoke group. I won't do like 100 deals. Like we'll cap off at around 70 because then I'll either need to bring more people on or administrative staff. So I just keep my business in that like 55 to 75 deals a year. And it's like clockwork. Like that's just how my business has been run. And like I said, boring because you look at all these other people like, oh man, look how great it would be to have that and do this and do that. And at the end of the day, like we're just happy with what we're doing. And I can't recall exactly who had said it, but they said every successful person makes peace with boredom. And when I read that, it really clicked to me. And I said, this is boring, but on paper, and the reason I'm sitting here right now is because it's successful, right? Like it works. So I'm just cool with making peace with boredom and just going to keep doing our thing and keep chipping away and cheer everyone else on who's doing their things. But we found something that works and I'm just going to keep going at it.
Nice. That's awesome. Love that. Love that, love that, love that. It's not too often that you hear that and you figured it out. As us
I figured, as you figured it out. I figured it out for me. I figured out what works for me. Yes, it definitely works with me. Yeah,
very cool. And what is it that you see in maybe not the near future, because right now you're okay with moving forward with what it is you're doing and it's working. But if you did get to that point where you decided to do something different in regards to changing or fine-tuning the business model, what is it that you have taken into consideration that you feel maybe might work?
I think my biggest next thought would be quality over quantity.
Okay.
And I always think of the diamond and diamond billboard that you see. Where like there's that one, the pair of lawyers in the middle and then like 50 different people.
Yeah.
And I see that in real estate and I look and it's not the easiest thing to check numbers, but if you're close with some brokers, you can pull on the back end numbers. And I'm looking at these agents and I'm going, I myself am doing more than all of those 10 agents put together. So they're mistaking movement for achievement. Yeah, we got a lot of people, but what you really got is a lot of money problems because there's not a lot of money circulating amongst those people, which means whoever's leading those people is primarily leading their money issues. So what I thought about was I'd rather have, which I do have now. I brought on 3 agents slowly to make sure that we get the onboarding process to bring them to a very considerable 6-figure agent. And I think that's the first entry mark to a lot of people. Hitting that 7 figures is a lot of time consumption. There's zero room for distractions. You just kind of got to push the needle. A lot of people don't really want to get there. So I thought, well, you know what I'm doing, I'm already the 7-figure agent. I can help people very easily make $100,000, $200,000, even $300,000 a year. And that's kind of the limit in between that. So I found 3 people who want to keep in that threshold and now they can work alongside me. I just don't know how much more I'd be willing to scale because I think there is a margin of diminishing return. There will always be those agents on teams who are not doing enough business and they'll just take a lot of your time. And I know what my time is worth. So I'm not okay with that. And I'd rather give my time to my family. So it's kind of always the counterbalance that I kind of go through. But I think that would be the next thing that I'm currently doing that I'm going to scale onto and then just run that out. And I think we chatted earlier. I'm a young guy. I do this for 10 years. I'll be 37 at 10 years from now.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, you know what? Let me just run this race at my pace. I'll get to the finish line that I'm going to deem where the finish line is. And, you know, if I can help some people along the way, super stoked, looking forward to do so. And we have amazing clients, man. Like the intimacy I have with my clients, I don't see a lot of realtors have that when they're scaling these big teams. If anything, I think that's the hardest thing. They're realizing acquisition, where I focus on retention a lot. I want to keep my people. I want to know everything about them. So yeah, it's a very niche little pockety thing. And I do know a couple other agents that are running this as well. And it just seems good.
Beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful. Love it. Love it. Love it. Talk to me a little bit about EXP because that's how we met.
Yes.
And love Rick Dillon, love Gurpreet, love Matty Campoli. That's like, you know, those guys are my guys now, right? But have most recently met them, just like I met you, right?
Same
Shout
thing,
out Pascal, Ellis, all the boys.
Yeah.
It's a good vibe. It's a good energy. But there's like that. you know, and I haven't met all the agents yet,
Yep.
obviously, right? There's 6,500 of them in Canada, and I've had the pleasure of meeting a lot of them in the office, and there's just this really good energy and buzz with the brokerage you're with, right? So talk a little bit about EXP, talk a little bit about what's going on there with Port Credit and the Rick Dillon team and that, you know, how that's helped you, why EXP? Like you got a guy like you, I'm sure every brokerage and their mother is taking shot or is going to want to sign you up.
Yeah,
right?
we definitely
because
get
that's
hit up a lot.
Good look. So why did you choose EXP?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I was at an amazing brokerage prior, right? And I loved it and it did everything great for me, except when I really just look at the trajectory of my career and I look at the long haul of what an industry is going to do. Every industry gets disrupted. I think we can look at, you know, the Netflix, the Blockbusters, and all the things like that that actually was such a big enough disruptor that actually ruined how a lot of people were operating. So I just looked at the brokerage model, and historically, real estate's always a little bit behind, or technology's behind, or marketing, all the things such as that. And when I looked at EXP, it was, at the time that I was reviewing it, it was the one brokerage model that not only made the most sense from scale, it was going to last the test of time, but it's also going to incentivize top agents like myself to join part of the organization, to share and grow and mentor other agents for the better of the industry, and receive not only a better sense of, hey, I'm helping out people in the trenches, but then the company's also going to reward us the same way any company would when you get a promotion, right? So I think that was like a big hit, and Rick Dillon had connected me and walked me through how this brokerage model works. And us as real estate agents, we think like, oh yeah, everything's good. We don't need to know what's going on the next thing. I've never been like that. I'm always, before I can close the door, I need to see what's behind it. And he just showed me this is what's behind this door. And my first thought was, why would this not work? For a very long time, and so much so that they were the first movers on it, and now we see other brokerages second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth mover advantage because they're realizing, oh, this is what we need to do to keep up with the brokerage model. And we're seeing whole brokerages dissolve and get acquired into EXP by their own choice, saying this is what we want to do for our people. So I kind of jumped on it. I've only been at the brokerage now going on my second year, but it just made the most sense from my, and we just got the number one agent out in Calgary doing, I think it was like $40 billion, something crazy, whatever it was. And now their entire team had just transferred over as well. So it's also, it's very telling when you see these big players make those moves because they're realizing, yep, this is the next chapter for the long haul, right? So yeah, that was the reason we chose AXP, and it's been fantastic.
Nice.
Yeah, and again, the culture, good people, man. And good producers. The brokerage model incentivized for those who produce. That's what I liked, right? So I wanted to be in another pond with quality agents who are all trying to better themselves and push the needle forward on their business. And there's always room to grow and learn from other people.
Hey guys, please remember to subscribe and like. It gives us a really good understanding that you like what we're doing here at What Would It Cost, and we'd really appreciate that. Thank you. Nice. So always in tip-top tailored suits. You've become known for that. It's something that is now expected when you walk in a room.
Which is fair because I got a closet, man. I got a closet.
So we were doing some cold tubbing the other day. Afterwards, went for a beautiful cut of meat at the Keg. Can never go wrong. And you went on to tell me how many suits that you had.
34.
Right? 34 suits.
All
so 34
tailored.
suits. Now, most recently, we just hired on a director of operations, and she's really elevated what the dress code is in the office. And she's chipping away at getting it even better and better and better.
Cool, man.
And I started, throwing some blazers on and throwing some dress pants on, some dress shirts. I got to get it fitted. I got to get it. I got to get it, dressed up properly, right? And matched with the shoes and the shirts and all that. So I'm learning about it, right? But you've been on this tip. You are a pro. One of the words that was used was dress how you would like to be addressed.
Oh heck yeah, man! What a great. I think you need to say it one more time.
So dressed how you would like to be addressed, right? And not only do you dress that way, right? But it's always like back straight. Right? Like posture.
You called me a soldier.
You're really you're fucking you're in the military. And it's
very
goal
militant
time all the time, right? But talk to me about how that's helped you. Talk to me about, because you're a young guy, and this formal dress wear, it was something that was respected a lot by the baby boomers.
Correct.
Right? And the older generations, the silent generation, it was like that was what they
used to have to wear a suit to board a plane.
Okay, well,
you know what I'm saying?
That out. Right?
Like it was a sense of accomplishment and achievement, man.
And dude, you're 27.
Yep.
Like right now, a cool pair of jeans, a hoodie, a toque, and some J's. Like there's a lot of people rocking that out there.
Man.
So you're walking in and you're doing like the polar opposite of what everyone else does. So talk to the young agents, talk to the audience, talk to the entrepreneurs, talk to anyone out there, you know, that is not dressing like you. Talk to me, brother.
Yeah, well, you know, so here I actually,
was it done for you?
What you said was perfect. Dressed the way that you want to be addressed. So in my head, there's only a couple things. Like if you really take into your senses, you have taste, smell, touch, hear, visualization, etc. When you're coming into someone who's going to be either working alongside you as a consultant or a salesperson, there's only a couple things. It's how do they sound and how do they look and how they present themselves, right? So when I first got into the business, I was 19 going on 20. So I was actually 20 at the time. So I was 20 years old going into the business. And I remember thinking that was my biggest... my age was going to keep coming up, and it was going to cost me what I needed to do at that time. And we started a family young. My eldest son is 8, my youngest son is 4, and we were broke, man. I kept telling myself it's sink or swim, and you're Michael Phelps. That's what I kept telling myself. So I said, you know what? If I look like I know what I'm doing, and I take the time to educate myself and actually know what I'm doing, the two of those will merge so well. No one's going to ask me how old I am. That's exactly what I did. My first year in the business, I made over $250,000, and no one asked me how old I was. And every single day, I only had 3 suits. I got married in a blue suit, so I had that suit. My groomsmen had a gray suit, so I had that suit, and then the black suit for the funerals. And they were all crappy. They were ripped at the back. I wore them out, man. That's all I wore because I didn't have any money at the time. I didn't even have a website, man. I was just knocking on 150 to 200 doors a day, looking like a Jehovah's Witness. And I was just trying to connect with people. Shout out to all the Jehovah's. I'm not saying anything negative about that, but my thing was if I can just impress people, then I'm good. And I think as a business, like, I mean, here's the thing now, even when you walk around like this, bro, you're an impressive guy. You've made it. In my head, I haven't made it yet, right? Like in my head, I'm like, we're still just getting started. So that's where like the whole militant posture, it's like, I'm still on the ball. I'm still on the clock. Like, we're still here to go. And that's worked wonders for me. My clients, actually, one of my Google reviews, I'll never forget this. Shout out, we have like nearly 100 5-star Google reviews. One of the Google reviews was, I'm convinced David sleeps in a suit with his hair combed and a headset in. Talk about marketing at its finest, man. So how good is that? How good is that?
That's really good.
And the even better part was...
Me too. I'm convinced that too.
Yeah, you convinced that too, right? Yeah, and then I come there shirtless. Everyone see me, they're like, oh, look at him in his bathing suit. Yeah. So the funny thing is that when I remember thinking, how much interactions do I actually have with a client? Maybe 6, maybe 7.
Yeah.
Right? And it's, as far as I'm concerned, their perception of me is the reality of me. And I get to mold that in all those interactions. So I took everything very, very seriously. And again, trying to overmask the fact that I was young and the fact that I'm still young. Yeah. Now no one really says anything to me, right? I got a track record. I've sold over personally, and everyone likes to throw numbers around. I've personally sold over $250 million worth of real estate. That's no small number. Yeah, I appreciate it, bro. And it's people like, oh, I joined this team and this team. No, it's like, I've done that, right? And then that's where I'm at. So I don't really think anyone questions anything anymore. And at the beginning it was age. Now what I'm realizing, people just want experience. So I've gotten to that point now where I can deliver. I am experienced in the marketplace and I'm experienced to consult with people, but this has just became my identity. Like wearing these suits, putting it on, and it's been tremendous for me. And I think there's also not just, dress to impress and how you'd like to be addressed, but I look at everyone I looked up to, right, in the business world and all the movies and everything. It was you get a nice suit on, and that was what it was, and that was kind of the fiction or nonfiction, right? Like Harvey Specter was one of my guys. Scarface was one of my guys. We got a drug dealer in a suit. Even he wants to wear a suit. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like those things emulated a lot of success, and it's such an easy way. And at the time, Nikki, when I started this business, I was driving a rusted. And if anybody knows about Mazda 3s, the 04 models, the worst, bro. You drive a thing long enough, you're like Fred Flintstone. Your feet go right through the floor, bro. That thing was so rusted, I had to park around the corner, far away, so none of my clients knew when I drove because it didn't make sense. I looked so well. You know what I'm saying? So it was that little bit of trickery, but again, as long as I knew what I was talking about and I sounded good and I dressed well, I'm like, that's really, and to this point, it's all it takes.
Yeah.
So it works, man. And actually, one other thing that I think you'll take humor in this. Someone was ragging me, and they were like, oh yeah, you always dress so nice, et cetera, et cetera. And it's like you said, the way you want to be addressed. I say, you guys make fun of me, but when I call the bank, they, oh yeah, your name, I give them a number right away, goes from David to Mr. Robbio right away. that's how I like to be addressed. You know what I'm saying? And I was joking with them. I said, hey, what does your bank call you when you talk to them, right? So there's a little bit of that in there, man. But the suit goes a long way. Yeah.
Nice. That's so awesome, man. That's so awesome. And they're very nice, like fitted, right?
But why
the way
not?
that you dress them up. It's not just the suit, right? Like even the sock, the shoe, the turtleneck under, right? The way the watch will wrap around and where it does. Like you could tell you got a good tailor in the pocket. I do. But you know what you want to see.
Yeah, man. But here's the thing. Everyone has Pinterest or Instagram. I didn't make this look. I just go, I see you today. I go, shoot, man, you look fantastic. But you're also a good guy. You're in good shape. You get in good shape, it makes a lot of things very easy, right? So that was the first thing. Health is wealth. I want to be wealthy. I better be healthy. So I'm a healthy guy, and I go to every suit or people I like and go, oh, that's really nice. And I send it to my guy. If you have a fabric like this, I'd like it like that. I don't think about it. This one, he said, hey, do a double-breasted. I said, no problem, man. Whatever you think. Let's roll, right? So you just go to the right. I advise with good accountants, and I'm advisory to a lot of people. I have a great suit guy, man. I'll hook you up.
Nice.
Hey, he'll take care of you.
Very cool.
Yeah. But again, if you're going to wear a suit, might as well get it tailored.
Absolutely. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt, for sure. So in regards to the family life now, the personal life, right?
Most important life.
As active, no doubt.
Most important.
As active as you are in business and as many hours as you're putting on the clock, and again, we refer to it as that lean, mean machine that has it being that you're very hands-on with the majority of the process and even delegating some of it. What time do you have left for family? What is a non-negotiable in regards to, the business not being able to cross over on that side? And how important do you think it is that, it's been for your foundation and everything that you represent when you're out there, Mr. Robbio?
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. I mean, at the end of the day, the reason I do what I do is for my family, right? Like, we're in a world where everyone wants to identify as something, right? I see my feed, and it's kind of the main topic of everything. And all humor aside, when I look at that, my key things I want to identify as Ruth Ann's husband, so that's my wife. I want to identify as Christian Hayes' father, and I want to identify as a Christian. Those are my three most important things, right? So if my business isn't aligned with any of those three things, it doesn't work, right? So when I'm doing my business and I'm in it, and we're in it 24/7, I'm in it. I'm not watching YouTube. I'm not going on Instagram. Like I'm working, because I always think, imagine if my kids were here right now and I was missing dinner and they saw I'm watching the next 10 funniest bloopers of cats. Not happening, bro. I'm working. But when I'm also at home, I do my best to separate as best I can. The kids understand and recognize that daddy's still in builder mode, right? I was like, I'm still trying to build a business and a lifestyle for everyone. I have big plans for college education, life insurance policies, all these things. And I've shared that with everyone in my family and saying, these are the things I need to get to the metrics. And I always tell Christians, so Christian's 8 now, I said, in 10 years, you're going to be 18. In 10 years, daddy's going to be in a very different world where he's put our family. And those are going to be these times matter now, right? I'm not home every single night for bed, right? 2-3 times a week if I'm lucky, dinner, you name it. But, we're booking a quick little 4-day getaway that no one knows, and we're going to be going over to Dominican. So we get to do these fun little things, or, hey, I'm pulling everyone out of school, we're going to Great Wolf Lodge. So I'm trying to make these key moments now, but I'm also going to do my best to be as present as I can in those later years of their life and be there with them. And that's what I'm trying to build. My wife is unbelievably supportive, which is if I don't have her behind me, there's no, I wouldn't be here. There's no way I'd be able to do what I do, operate the way that I do. I don't even think, I know the house is under order. She's a stay-at-home mom. She deals with the kids, and she's like the main backbone. So I owe it to them that when I'm out there, I'm taking care of business. And when I come back home, she's taking care of the home, right? So it's kind of how we have things set up. So, it's tough to say non-negotiables right now. Even that word always, when I sign a contract for a family and I say I'm going to be here to represent you, you call me at 9 o'clock, I'm answering that call. And my family respects that. They know daddy's got to work, right? But that's also why I'm really serious with my clients. And I'm like, hey, listen, I'm here for you, but we need to have that respect boundary. Yeah. So I don't like it when people are like, oh, David, just show me some homes, but we don't want to sign a contract. It's like, I'm not taking away my family time for that.
Right.
And I've been like that since day one. So I earn that respect right away from the clients, and the same thing with family. So I think the non-negotiable is miscommunication. Everyone's got to be on the same page. So my family's on the same page of how we do business. My clients were on the same page on how we represent them. And it's good, man. I'm happy. I think that's the bottom line too. I'm happy.
Super young dad, 27-year-old. You have a 9-year-old.
8-year-old, yeah.
8-year-old?
Yep.
Okay. So you were 19. And then
technically,
the next one came at 23.
Yeah, because the next one was 4, yep.
So you buckled down real early. You got serious real early. Shit got real for you.
Shit got real. Got real. Got scary before it got real.
What's it like being an awesome young dad?
Well, now it's unreal. At the time, it was the wake-up call was an understatement, right? And I think personally, I've recognized that a lot of people go through things in life and it shapes them. Their path molds them. I just got hit very early on when my girlfriend at the time says, hey, I'm pregnant. Life not only flashes before your eyes, but you realize in that moment what are you going to deal with it, right? And at that time, statistically, most people would have done different things, right? Or not been present or et cetera, whatever it was. For me, speaking of non-negotiables, that was my one non-negotiable. I didn't even know I wanted to have kids, but I knew at that moment, there's no way I wasn't going to be a present good father. Yeah. So it kind of put me on my heels, and I wasn't in real estate at the time. And I realized, okay, quickly, you just got to make this kid, like, what did you want in your life? Because now I'm realizing, okay, I'm about to have a kid. What does that even mean, right? We're broke. I'm $0, and now we're talking about 9 years ago, give or take, right? Like, 9 years ago. So we're having this conversation, and essentially, I just thought, okay, if I was to have a kid right now, what would my life look like? I'd say, okay, well, I'd be successful. I'd have a good job. I'd wear suits. I'd have a briefcase. I don't know what's in that briefcase, but let's hope it's a computer or something, not some other stuff that shouldn't be in that briefcase. And I thought, what else? And I thought, you know what? You'd probably be in like your mid-30s. That was where my head was at that time. And I said, forget it. The only one variable here is age. I can't change what's happening to me today, but I can change all those other ones. So I just quickly, for lack of better terms, I had to cut everything that was going on in my life at that time, right? And again, my wife, and at the time my girlfriend, unbelievably supportive. She goes, listen, you're going to do great. We're going to do this. I'm going to back you every step of the way. And it kind of scared me because I'm like, holy crap, she actually believes in me. I got to make this happen. And I think that was enough weight on the shoulders to say, I'm just going to become that person today. And I just worked my ass off. And that's when I got my real estate license. And it was super exciting. I connected with someone, my mentor at the time. He goes, man, if you want to make it happen, knock on 100 doors a day. I said, I don't got that time. 150 to 200 it is. And that's what we did. Rookie of the year, first year, sold it. But I guess the bottom line there was intent. And I needed to make it happen. So if people, and this is what I always said, I don't recommend anyone who's watching this, don't go have kids young. That's not the answer to this. Yeah. But it's, what's it going to take for you to get into gear, right? Mm-hmm. Like I don't need to drink and drive to know that it's a bad idea. I can listen to someone else's story and go, oh man, they had in the jail after, killed someone. I go, I don't need to live that to know it's a bad idea. So what's it going to take for you to grasp other people's stories? That's why books are so powerful. You read other people's life lessons. You go, this person, 65 years old, wrote this entire book. It can shortcut me 30 years if I just really listen to it. Right. So I'm like, it's unfortunate that, I don't want to say it's unfortunate, but I had to go through that, which was a pretty wild life experience. Like, hey, you're going to be an 19-year-old dad, broke, living in a basement, you name it, man. Like, and then to be here today, look back hindsight, like it worked out very well. But yeah, I think that wake up call is what a lot of people need, and they need that intention and their big why. Like, why am I going to go do this? You too, man. Somebody I really respect, but you're a family man. You know, I'm always seeing on the Insta you and your beautiful kids, man. Like, and you got 3, man. Yeah. God bless you, man. So I'll say a lot of prayers for you guys. And yeah, it's just it's the purpose, and I'm sure you could agree. No. The kids add the family adds a different layer.
Oh,
that's it.
That's the why.
Yeah, and if I didn't have those kids, I wouldn't be here. Yeah. I wouldn't be here in the suit right now. Right. I would be in the Nike shoes and the hoodie, right? Yeah. Like so, but for that, but other people that, again, not that they need to have kids, they just got to figure out what their why is and what their intention is, and just keep true to yourself. Don't worry about everybody else. Keep true to yourself and just drive forward. Yeah, that's it.
Spirituality. You mentioned you're a Christian.
Yep.
Now, what has that done for you?
In simplest terms, it's a moral compass, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you know, I respect everybody, Sikh, Muslim, Buddha, whoever you are, I love you, man. If you're good to me, I'm be good to you, and I'm not going to push anything on anybody. I never have, never will. If you want to ask some questions, happy to have some conversations around it. But essentially, it's how I was brought up. It's what I'm instilling into my kids in this world. I'm just saying, here's your moral set of compass. This is how we deal with people. This is how we engage with people, understanding right, understanding wrong. And, you know, in the Bible, there's so many different parables of life lessons of how you should interact with different things. So I think for me, it's super grounding. It's also very humble. It humbles you to realize who you are and why you're here, and how gratitude is the kicker of everything. I'm just grateful to be here right now. So I think any religion, for the most part, gives that sense of gratitude and humbleness, and saying, hey, I'm just grateful to be in this opportunity, and changing the perspective, right? So that's been it for me. And again, I have an amazing wife who supports that, and she's same thing, brought up her entire life like that. And now our kids are recognizing that not only is faith important, but we're grateful for everything we have. And, you know, even I tell Christian all the time, he goes, Dad, you work so hard. I go, yeah, by God's grace, man. He gives me the energy I have 2 hands, 2 legs, and to think like this and be in this situation and live in this geographic point in the world and all these things. That's gratitude, man. I didn't do those things. I was gifted those things, right? So I got to make sure to use those gifts well. So that's spirituality in a nutshell for me, man.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So cool. Well, thank you very much.
For sure, man.
Just rubbing all that good stuff off on us.
Good stuff,
right?
dude.
It's very, very
Robbio lotion.
Yeah. Robbio lotion. Yeah, no, it's just very inspiring to hear at such a young age how far you've come, what you're currently working on to help propel your career moving forward, but not only your career, what's happening with your kids too, right?
Yeah.
And not only with how you want to set them up, like you were referring to in regards to the life insurance, the education, the lifestyle overall, but then, you know, on the spiritual side, you're just a really, really good human being. Bro, the world needs a lot more of you.
That means way more than you know. And I mean, what an honorable title to wear. But I genuinely am trying. Like, I'm trying really hard, man. I'm not just like letting things fall at the wayside. And I got a good support system. And so do you. I can tell them, the whole staff and everyone here, right? Those things are important. You don't take them for granted. Right?
Yeah.
I do my best to just never take anything for granted. And I appreciate the comment a lot.
So you wake up in the morning.
Yep.
Make sure you're clean cut. You put on that suit. You walk out the door. You're a new realtor with your license.
Mm-hmm.
How do you do $250,000 in your first year?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what I didn't do. I didn't have really cool business cards. I didn't have a website.
Okay.
I didn't have an unreal Instagram page. I didn't go tour homes that were my listings to try to get some views and get those dopamine hits and mistake movement for achievement. I understood very simply there's a couple key metrics. Number one is you need to generate leads. Period. I don't care if you're knocking on doors. I don't care if you're cold calling. I don't care if you're hosting open houses. You need to generate leads. For me, it was knocking on doors. It's a very easy way to know. I know you're a homeowner. You live in this area. You can afford real estate in this area. It's worth us having a conversation together. So that's number one. Number two, you have to have a good follow-up strategy. Okay, so a lot of people work so hard to generate a lead and they don't do any follow-up with them. So I spent the time to go, what's a follow-up strategy I can genuinely do consistently that would bring me the results? Because sometimes the life cycle of a lead could be 2 years. How are you going to keep that engagement for 2 years? And what I did very early on in my career, if you're 2 years plus, have a good day, here's a business card, throw it in the bullshit drawer, we'll probably never talk again. Because I realized I didn't have the system set up. So I was mistaking movement for achievement. Oh, we had some great leads. Yeah, they're all moving in 3 years. They're not going to pay the bills, and I'm not going to be able to follow up with them. It's a waste of time. So I was trying to find the correct people. So 1 to 2 years. So you're generating leads, you're finding a follow-up strategy. You're booking appointments. I think a lot of people get scared to actually book an appointment, a free home evaluation. Have you considered what it would look like to reposition some of your equity to buy an investment property? So learning about what kind of appointments you can go on and learning how to tee up an opportunity for someone to grasp and bite on and go, oh, I would find that as value and make a deliverable on it. So negotiate appointments, go on book appointments. And then you're negotiating contracts, 2 types of contracts. You're negotiating with a potential seller or buyer saying, I would like to represent your business. And then you're negotiate with the open marketplace on how to actually get a deal done. If you're not doing any of those things, like I just told you a few moments back, you're not a realtor. You're just a licensed sales representative, right? Who has a really cool Instagram page, really great Facebook page, website that has all these cool videos and great business cards. But we're supposed to be salespeople. Those are the key sales tactics. So if you're not doing any of those things and you woke up in the morning, you woke up just as a normal person who paid licensing fees not to leverage your license and you went to bed not doing any salesmanship, right? So that would be my key advice for anyone starting out, or even people who just need to hear the fundamentals once again. Don't mistake movement for achievement. Make sure to be checking off the box on those things in whatever capacity. Make sure you're doing those things. And the sad thing is, if you're really efficient, you get done in 4 hours. Wild, man. It's absolutely crazy. But those are the key things.
Right on.
Yeah.
You made it sound easy, David.
I made it sound boring. That's what it is, right? You know what I mean? I'm not selling sunset. You know what I mean? It's boring. Consistency and results.
Love that.
It's boring, man.
That's a hustle, That's a hustle, man. And you know what? To have that recipe, right? And to know that if I continuously apply myself at those things right there, and I don't stop, it's going to work.
But how powerful is that?
It's going to work. Yeah, no, that's it, right?
And for me getting in the business, the scariest thing for me getting in the business was I was so nervous because I got to make sure to listen to the people who've actually done it. Because there's so many out there. Right. I'll go, oh man, you got 40,000 Instagram followers. Ask my broker. He goes, yeah, David, they haven't done a deal in 12 months. Yeah. I go, whoa.
Yeah.
So again, it's that optics. And then what I made sure to do was go to someone who'd done it so that when they told me, hey, you knock on 100 doors a day, I guarantee you'll make 150. I knocked on 150 to 250. I made 250 grand.
Check that out.
But it was because I really believe them because they've done it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So just make sure you're taking advice from the right people. Do those things and it works. But yeah, you got to stay consistent. It's powerful, man.
Yeah.
But again, everyone's going to talk. You just got to plug your ears and go, I know what I'm doing respectfully, right? Like I appreciate it, but I know what I'm doing.
Beautiful, man. Love it, love it, love it. That's amazing. Amazing. Thank you guys for listening in to another episode of What Would It Cost? Please don't forget to subscribe and like. That's what continues to allow us to understand that you guys like the show, right? And how can you not like the show when you got all-stars like Mr. David Robbio?
There we go.
Just dropping all the bombs and giving away all the secrets.
All of them.
As to how you make $1 million a year as a one-man show. Come on. It's a beautiful thing. Thank you, David.
Oh, my pleasure, brother. Appreciate you.
Or Mr. Robbio, I should say.
There you go.